Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. I literally just uploaded a video about an hour ago, and then I checked Facebook, and then I saw this. So we're going to cover the two new heroes coming to the game, and can I just say, this first guy looks like an absolute beast. Like, just check out that design. Like, I reckon the design, it's like a cross between like Wolverine, a Ninja Turtle, and Thor. I don't know what's going on there, but he looks like a beast, and his skills actually look really nice too. He's one that I would really like to summon. We'll go through his skills. His name is Gorvo. He's a wilder. I'm tipping he's going to be a heavy armor wearer, wearing plate armor. He'll be your tank. His skills look really nice. So we'll go into it, and then we'll go into the other new character. Not sure exactly when they are going to be released, but they've just put them up on their Facebook. So really excited about this guy. His ultimate skill, he roars angrily, dealing damage to all enemies. And he's also basically taunts the enemies, so they're forced to attack him, and then he also deflects damage while they're attacking him. So it's an AoE damage with a taunt with reflect damage. Really, really nice. Just a good tank skill to have. You're taking the aggro away from your other heroes, allowing him to do it. It even means you can have squishier secondary tanks, in the other slot, because he'll be pulling the aggro towards him. Really nice in general. His next skill is Dive Bomb. He sails his enemies by leaping into the air and dive bombing into their midst, inflicting AoE damage on any enemies close enough to him. The ability also leaves enemies stunned for several seconds, and he cannot be targeted while using this ability. So he basically jumps, does AoE damage, AoE stun, and while he's in the animation, he can't get targeted, and I'm tipping he can't be CC'd while he's doing that, which is really nice. So just a good, passive skill that's going to get thrown out every once in a while. The stun is really nice, the AoE is nice, so it'll be interesting to see how much of a range this does have, like how many enemies it's going to hit. If it's going to hit, just like a group of two, if it can spread out and hit maybe 3 enemies, it could be really nice, depending on what positions he's in. I'm thinking also, after he uses his ultimate, which is the battle cry, which taunts enemies, if there's, because it's hitting all enemies, if there's a bunch of melee enemies, they're all going to get close to him, meaning that when he uses Dive Bomb after that, they should be in a close enough vicinity that he is going to hit them all and just get that multiple stun, multiple damage, which is really nice. So the next skill is Shell Shock. He charges his Warhammer up several seconds, causing the following attack to become a critical strike, so he gets a guaranteed critical that deals AoE damage to nearby enemies, leaving them stunned for several seconds. Once again, another stun, another AoE. Really nice. So basically, when we're looking at him at the moment, he's got a bunch of AoEs, his ultimate's got that taunt and the reflect damage, and then he's got 2 abilities that are AoE stuns. Really, really nice. And once again, this one I feel like could synergize well with his battle cry against melee enemies. If they run towards him to attack him once he's taunted them, they're going to run to him, and then he's just got these 2 skills that are just going to basically stun AoE. Like, really, really nice. And then his last skill is also really nice. So after entering the battlefield, he basically casts a shield on himself, absorbs some damage. And then the great thing about this is when he casts his ultimate ability, he also casts the shield. Now, I'm not too sure how it's going to work with the reflect damage and the shield. Hopefully, when they're dealing damage into the shield, it's going to reflect that damage that gets shielded as well, not just damage that affects his HP. Otherwise, it sort of counteracts it, but it's really nice to lead off with that into the start of the battle, especially if you're looking at, I know he's a wilder, but if you put him up against a Savius or something like that, the enemy team has a Savius, even though he is at a disadvantage, depending on how much this shield does absorb, you can throw him in there, because Savius always hits hard with those first 1 or 2 hits, and then if you have some good support heroes in your team, you've got an Arden or something like that, you might cop the 1 hit off the Savius, absorb it with the shield, and then he might get put into the Tangling Roots or something like that to avoid more damage. So I just feel like this guy's kit all around is really nice. I am just a big fan of the Wilders in general for all the CC capabilities that they do have. But this guy just being a real solid tank. I do like Sirius as a tank as well, but this guy I think is going to be my number 1 Wilder tank that I'm going to want to pull for my team. I am using mainly Wilders at the moment. I just feel like all those extra stuns, that focus aggro is really nice, especially if you're going in a bit of a more YOLO team where you're not bringing a dedicated healer or something like that. Being able to focus aggro on him, could work. So who knows? Really excited for him. Like I said, the design is wicked, and yeah, the skills look amazing. So he is one that he's definitely going to go on my wish list, even though the wish list seems to not affect anything at the moment. So we're going to jump into the next hero that they've put up on the Facebook page, and that is going to be Mehira, or Mehira. Don't know how, I suck at names in every game I play, so that's her. Check her out. She also looks pretty cool. The great thing about her is this actual ultimate skill looks really nice, and I'm really keen to see the skill ups for it. So we'll go into her ultimate skill, which is entrances all enemies, which causes them to start attacking each other with their normal attacks for several seconds. So this is pretty much that ability that Soren uses in the guild hunt, or like an AoE version of what Nomura has. Now, with Nomura, with skill ups, it actually allows them to use their abilities when they're attacking each other. If this skills up to actually allow them to use their abilities on each other, I think this is going to be absolutely ridiculous. I just think that the possibilities that you can run into with this, depending on when you get it off, especially in something like Labyrinth, if you start out with this, you're pretty much set. But like this could really, as soon as you use it, turn the tide if they do start using their abilities on themselves. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes, but really, really excited for her to get dropped into the game just to see that. I'm tipping she's going to be a hard one to get, obviously, but we'll see how it goes. The next skill, Whiplash, uses a whip to deal AoE damage to everyone in front of her, including allies. So I like this sort of thing. It's a new type of mechanic. We haven't seen this sort of mechanic before. If the ability inflicts damage upon any of her allies, they will recover a percentage of their energy, and their haste will be increased for several seconds. So this skill, I do really like the look of. I feel like there's a lot of team compositions and ideas you can put into this to make it really work. For one, dealing damage to your allies, if they can afford to take the damage, it just being damaged in itself is boosting their energy. But the fact that it also says that it recovers their energy further is really nice. Increasing their haste is really nice as well. Depending on how much damage, obviously, it does do to them. You don't want to be one-shotting your allies, which I don't think it will. But you're also going to be dealing damage to enemies, which is nice. But the cool thing about this is, with something like the last guy we looked at, what was his name? Gorvo, I'd already forgotten. Because he's got that shield, he can get hit by that. You can have her behind him. He gets hit into that shield. He doesn't really take any damage. He gains haste. He gains energy. He gets close to using his taunt. Stuff like that. Something like, for me, I'm using a Brutus at the moment. I can just throw that Brutus in there. My Brutus is only elite, and he gets down to his shield in the first 2 seconds of battle anyway, so this isn't going to affect me. And I can do that, give Brutus some extra haste, give him some extra energy. Hopefully he can use his ultimate earlier, get some more damage off. But I feel like there could be a lot of different ways to use this ability, depending on team compositions. Like, I can't think of everything off the top of my head, but I feel like people will find some really cool ways to use this. The next skill, Infatuation, deals damage to a single enemy target and reduces the damage that she receives from the enemy for several seconds. Simultaneously, she will leech a percentage of the enemy's current health and restore her own. So it basically just attacks an enemy, and she's going to restore her health while she's doing it and receive less damage from them. Really nice. Single target use, I can see this being really good in some of the guild hunts and stuff like that, where you are only fighting one enemy, but still be really nice in general. It's sort of like, it sort of seems like she's going to try and be a pseudo tank in a way, especially once we look at her next skill, where you might not even have to worry about that Whiplash hitting your allies, because you might put her in the front row, because you've got this one that makes her take less damage, and then the next skill, which looks really, really nice too. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But we'll jump onto the last skill, which is Hellspawn. At the beginning of the battle, she sacrifices a percentage of her current health to summon several minions. I'm keen to see how many several is. Like, I want to see the screen flooded with minions. Who knows? It might be like 2 or 3. Have to see. Which will automatically attack her enemies. After returning from an attack, the minions will convert some of the damage they've inflicted upon their enemies back to her as health, and if she receives fatal damage, she will sacrifice a minion in order to restore her health. So basically this, at the start of the battle, she summons some minions, they go attack, they restore her health when they deal damage, and then if she dies, if she gets fatal damage, if she would have died, she just sacrifices one of those minions, and then she gains health. Now it's going to be interesting to see how much health these minions have, how much how much mitigation they have, whether they'll actually survive long enough to help and actually use that ability where she saves herself from death. If they're really tanky, does she just keep saving herself from death endlessly, depending on how many there are? How much healing will they do? So she has a really interesting kit, and it will really depend on things like skill ups for that ultimate skill, and just mechanics of the rest of it. Depends how it actually functions to see how good she does become. But on paper, I think she has the potential to be really amazing. So that is going to be it for this video, guys. That's the 2 new heroes coming. Like I said, I'm not sure when they're coming. Hopefully not too far away, because I really want to start saving summons for this Gorvo, because he looks like a beast. And I just want to see him on the battlefield, see his animations and stuff like that. But that is it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.